Welcome to INAN's Student. INAN Student is a platform for law students to come here and deliver a lecture on the topic of their choice. Today we have with us law student Akshat Hegde. Today he is going to speak on legal framework and judicial precedents on LGBTQ plus rights in sports. He is from KES Shri Jayantilal H. Patel College of Law. So without wasting further time, I would request Akshat to commence with his lecture. Thank you.
In NAS Foundation versus Union of India, the Supreme Court stated that it is no one's business in a consolidating adult's bedroom when they are indulging in a harmless activity. With this being said, I, Akshat Hegde, would like to take on today's topic, which is legal framework and judicial precedents on LGBTQ plus rights in sports. Sports is often celebrated as a great equalizer, a realm where talents triumph over background, identity, and beliefs, or the fairy tale as it goes. In reality, for many LGBTQ plus individuals, sporting world is less than a playing field, an obstacle course riddled with discriminations, exclusions, and outdated biases, dressed up as a tradition. While society has taken strides towards equality, sports continue to lag. With LGBTQ plus athletes, coaches, and administrators facing systematic bias, the transgender individuals in particular endure everything from policy loopholes to outright bans. Legal protection vary widely from nations with progressive and with safeguards to those LGBTQ plus athletes, and practicality expected is the invisibility coax. Efforts by organizations like the International Olympic Committee, or better known as IOC, is to foster inclusion that have been about a consistency as a reference to the decision in a heated, much commendable theory lacking execution. Meanwhile, homophobia and transphobia do not just hinder participation, they actively deter LGBTQ plus individuals from the physical, mental, and social benefits of sports. Homophobia means the hatred towards the LGBTQ plus communities, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queers, and many more. The current social and political landscape, along with the judiciary, often appears apathetic towards the injustices faced by the LGBTQ plus community. The acronym represents individuals, diverse genders, and sexual orientations who continue to face discrimination, and despite constitutional protections in India, the Hijra community has long been part of the cultural fabric, yet societal legal hurdles persist. The rigid male-female binary in heteronormative societies exacerbate the challenges faced by the LGBTQ plus individuals. And it is very crucial to take this topic as the president of a very renowned country states that he only recognizes two genders, which is male and female. The legal system's evolving relationship with gender identity highlights the complexities in enforcing equal rights. Historically, the gender testing in sports began in 1966, leading to the invasive examinations for female athletes. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, introduced regulations, but these have been criticized for their inconsistency and lack of fairness. Over the time, policies regarding transgender athletes have evolved, reflecting broader discussion on inclusions. In India, the 2012 controversy involving Pinky Pramanik raised concerns about the bodily privacy and legal treatment. Dutti Chand's 2014 legal victory at the Court of Arbitration for Sport set a precedent against ban based on hyperandrogenism, marking a significant milestone for transgender and intersex athletes. The issue of transgender inclusion in sport remains consistent as regulatory bodies struggle to balance fairness and inclusivity. The IOC and other international federations bear the responsibility of ensuring just policies. India's legal framework, including the Transgender Persons Act 2019, aims to safeguard transgenders' rights, though challenges remain. International human rights law, including the UN Declaration on Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, emphasize the protection against the discrimination. Articles within these frameworks uphold equality before the law and safeguard privacy, reinforcing the need for global and national policies that uphold the transgender athletes' rights in sports. The LGBTQ plus rights in Indian sports must be understood within the broader constitutional and judicial landscape that protects the individual from discrimination. India's legal system has progressively recognized the rights of LGBTQ plus individuals, but its impact on sports remains limited. Though the constitutional frameworks are there, which are Article 14, which guarantees right to equality before the law and equal protection of law. Article 15, which prohibits discrimination based on religion, caste, sex, place of birth, court, have been expanded its interpretation to include sexual orientation and gender identity as well. Article 21, which states that protection of right to life and personal liberty, which includes dignity, autonomy, gender identity, and sexual orientation. There are many judicial precedents for the same. The Nalsa versus Union of India 2014. This case is a landmark case as it states that it recognized the right to transgenders individual under the constitution, affirming their rights of self-identification as male, female, and third gender. The court directed the government to ensure the social educational inclusivity for transgenders individual, laying for the foundation of participating in sports. There are international perspectives for this as well. The IOC framework of 2021 replaced testosterone-based restrictions with individual assessment models emphasizing fairness and inclusions. The World Athletic Regulations introduced the strict testosterone limits for female categories, controversial for excluding transgender women. The Caster Semenya case challenged the testosterone-based restriction but upheld the World Athletic Policy, impacting future transgender participation. Despite legal advancements, Indian sports bodies like BCCI and IOA have yet to implement explicit LGBTQ plus inclusion policies. There are emerging discussions on transgender athlete participation, but no uniform guidelines exist across national sports federations. Although LGBTQ plus visibility in Indian sport remains limited, some athletes have spoken about their identity, such as Duti Chand, the very famous renowned sprinter. India's first openly gay athlete, she faced scrutiny after publicly acknowledging her same-sex relation and has fought legal battles against hyperdronism rule in sports. Akai Padmashali, though not in mainstream athletes, she has actively campaigned for transgender inclusion in sport. Prithika Yashini, the first transgender police officer and athlete, she has been an advocate for transgender rights and participation in sports. For decades, LGBTQ plus rights and athletes have faced exclusions in sports due to its homophobic and transphobic attitudes. From coaches, teammates, and fans, in the early 20th century, many were forced to hide their identities and were ostracized. Despite growing LGBTQ plus activism, sports lagged in progress. The Stonewall riots had little immediate impact on the sports, and athletes like Dave Cope faced backlash for coming out. The HIV/AIDS crisis of 1980s and 90s worsened this stigma. With media reinforcing harmful stereotypes, change was slow, driven mostly by grassroots efforts and rather than systematic reforms, leaving LGBTQ plus athletes in sports and community a question. The International Sports Organization, ISO, play a crucial role in shaping the policies and practices that impact LGBTQ plus inclusions in sports globally. Their policies set standards for competitions, athlete welfare, and organizational culture. The key ISO includes the IOC set guidelines for transgender athletes, but it struggles the uniform enforcement. For decades, LGBTQ plus athletes have faced exclusion in sports due to homophobic and transphobic attitudes, as I previously said. Despite the growing LGBTQ plus activism, sports lagged in progress. The Rean Richards case, a landmark victory for transgender inclusion in professional sports, because the International Olympic Committee recognized the transgender's influence. Despite legal advancements, challenges persist. The continued discrimination and social stigma, lack of enforcement policies, need for greater representation in leadership roles, more explicit and comprehensive legal protection for LGBTQ plus athletes in India. A stronger commitment from Indian Sports Federation is essential, along with clear policy reforms and education initiatives and legal backing. To protect LGBTQ plus athletes, sports should have space where talent, dedication, and hard work define success, and not gender identity or sexual orientation. India and other world are making strides towards inclusivity, but much work remains. To ensure true inclusion in sports, organizations must embrace education policies and visible allyship, because true sportsmanship isn't just about winning, it's about ensuring that everyone's get to play. Thank you.
Akshat, thank you very much. It is really nice to hear from students that they are touching these kind of topics which are yet to be more discussed in even the practicing legal world. So I am really happy. It was a nicely researched article you had given. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And a small token from us to you.
So much, sir.